Hey guys, I'm Favia.
I'm Pavet.
And I'm Sherry.
We're your hosts for this episode on basically everything.
Welcome to Basically Everything, a podcast where teens and Gen Z share their judgments and impressions on, well, basically everything.
Today we will be discussing positive aspects of the COVID-19 pandemic, or more commonly known as coronavirus.
Evidence from the New York Times show that currently around 32.4 million people across the globe have been hit with the virus. Although many have lost a loved one, many have also recovered. About 25 million people have bounced back from this virus. You can find more about COVID-19 cases at covid.cdc.gov.
And even though COVID-19 has created many devastations and tragedies, it's also had several effective and beneficial impacts on our lives.
So, let's get to it.
So, what was something that you guys did during quarantine?
I got to bake and cook more. I've always liked doing it, but I never had enough time to try new recipes. So over quarantine, I've done tiramisu, banana bread, even though I don't like bananas, pizza, and some other stuff.
Yeah, adding on to Favia. So I never really tried cooking before. So like during quarantine, I was able to try that out and like make some dishes. Although they're not the best, but it's fun. It's fun trying.
Oh, that's interesting. I actually didn't really do much cooking over quarantine, but I did try improving my piano skills, and I got more interested in the world and politics.
How did you feel when lockdown started? Was it overwhelming or stressful?
Well, for me, like, it was kind of like weird at first, but eventually I got used to it, and yeah.
When lockdown started, I wasn't too surprised, but I wasn't really prepared for not being able to see my friends or really talking to them as much. So that was kind of depressing.
I feel like I was really prepared for quarantine. I mean, no one was truly prepared, but I saw the news about like more cases. Like I think it started in Washington, where the first case in the United States was. So ever since then, I like sanitized everything in my sight. And a lot of my friends told me I was overreacting, but now I think they were underreacting. And I hate to say it, but I told you so.
Okay, so what were some challenges that you guys faced? And like, how did you adapt to the new changes?
Some changes I had to deal with was I feel like over quarantine, I used to be really like, I still am pretty outgoing, but I think during quarantine I've kind of lost I still have my social skills, but I don't feel like socializing anymore. And I think that just came out of being alone for so many months that it kind of feels unnatural for me to want to call someone now, because I never was one to really like use social media or anything. So during normal school, I guess you could say, I just talked to all my friends and I never really like texted them or anything. So it was a huge adjustment to like do everything virtually.
Yeah, I got really unmotivated to do anything because it felt like the world was just like ending, even though like it's not. And also I got depressed because I felt like I didn't have anyone to talk to, and like I didn't feel like I had any friends anymore. But I got over it by talking to my friends, and then I also got motivated again by making a schedule for myself.
So adding on to you guys, so for me, like before this whole like coronavirus, I didn't really have any like social media accounts or like anything. And like I never really like texted my friends or anything because like I don't have like a phone number or something. But then like after this, like I started like having like more social media accounts and then like asking for my like friends' contact information so like I could chat with them. since like now we can't like talk in person.
So how have these past few months affected you mentally?
Well, for me, I really learned a lot about myself and found ways to change myself in ways that I never really thought I was, I guess, lacking in, or if I was being too much in some things. So I really felt like I changed myself for the good for me and also for the people around me.
I think one thing that changed with me is that I now hold the people around me to higher standards. Like all of this, I have some friends that didn't really follow social distancing guidelines, and so I learned to kind of cut them off, because if they're going to be selfish and prioritize their fun for people's health, then I don't think they would make good friends. I mean, friends are people who help you through hard times, and you can't be a friend and be selfish. So yeah, I think that's one thing that's really changed with me.
So like I know like a lot of people are like really like depressed right now, or like lost someone that like they love. But for me, like for our family, like everything's like going like pretty good right now. So I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, this virus, I mean, it affects all of us, but it affects all of us in different ways. And some people have to go through a lot, and some people are a little more lucky, I guess. So it's up to the people who are in a place of privilege to help others who don't have the same things.
So like what were your reactions when like cases first appear like near you or like where you live?
It felt apocalyptic. Like it felt the world was coming to an end. I've definitely felt that this year has probably been the year I've done the most growing up in. Like, I'm still the same kind of like person, but I definitely have a different outlook on life. Like, I still have fun, but this year definitely changed a lot. So I feel when quarantine started, I started making a lot of 2020 jokes, because already the year had been kind of sucky. And I feel like the only way I could get through it is just make a joke out of it. So it's easier to get through.
Yeah, like for me, like I was like able to like become more like mature over this pandemic because like of all like the things that had happened.
Yeah, and yeah, adding on to that, it felt like a horror story almost. Like we had to follow all of these guidelines to make sure that we won't like get infected and have to like go to the hospital or anything. So it was a bit scary.
So like we kind of like so far like the coronavirus has been like kind of this like really tragical thing, but then like there's also like good sides to it. So like what are some good things that like happened to you during quarantine and the pandemic?
I think I basically learned how to deal with more stress. Okay, because there's different kinds of stress. There's like when regular school happened, I was dealing with like school stress or like friend stress, and now all that ridiculous drama just feels like I kind of like look back and all that stuff and think, why did that happen? Now I feel like there's so much more bigger things in the world, that a good thing that's happened is that I know my place in the world. I know that things I go through are just like a drop in the sea, and that you need to look at the big picture. If you look at things through a magnifying glass, you're going to miss everything. You're just going to wake up one day and your whole life will have passed and you won't have a single thing to show for it. That sounds super depressing, but I feel like that's a fact of life.
Yeah, it's like really sad thinking about that.
Okay, so we found this very we found this poem by Laura Kelly Fanucci. It's very lighthearted and it helps people like understand things better. So it says, when this is over, may we never again take for granted a handshake with a stranger, full shelves at the store, conversations with neighbors, a crowded theater, Friday night out, the taste of communion, a routine checkup, the school rush each morning, coffee with a friend, the stadium roaring, each deep breath, a boring Tuesday, life itself. When this ends, may we find that we've become more like the people we wanted to be. We were called to be, we hope to be, and may we stay that way. Better for each other because of the worst. So what do you guys think about this?
I can definitely relate to the part where the author said um that we have become more like the people we wanted to be, because I really feel that I changed the way I do things and the way I think about life, and I think it's better for me and also for the people around me.
Yeah, I totally agree. So what about you, Bhavya?
I feel like it's nostalgic of some of those things are like basic everyday things, or at least I thought they were basic everyday things, but I've come to realize that that's not the case. One line in particular, um, the one about, the school rush each morning. I remember kind of being annoyed at how crowded school hallways were and like just having to push by people. And I can't believe that I once thought like that, because now I would like literally give anything to like just be around that many people and like listen to conversations without it having to go through an iPad or something. So yeah, it definitely feels nostalgic. So if you guys could go back in time to before this, what would you do differently?
Well, I would take the time to like appreciate everything around me more, because like after this helped me like learn like more things, and then just like learn to like appreciate like my friends, my family, and like the life it is like right now.
If I were to go back in time, I would try to do things that I can't do anymore, like going places or having my friends over. But now we can't do that anymore, and it's a little frustrating.
So, do you guys have some like advice for like people who are going through hard times or have like lost someone that they really love?
I think my advice, because that's a lot of people, this virus has definitely affected probably everyone. So my advice is that no matter how hard it seems right now, it will come to an end. Like all good and bad things come to an end, and it's just a cycle. And all those experiences that this pandemic has given you are going to make you into a better person in the long run. And you'll probably learn a lot about yourself. And just know that people who care about you will always be around you. So you'll get through it.
So, adding on to Bhavia, like I just think that everyone should just look on the positive side and just think about like the good things and not just all the bad things. And like eventually like this pandemic would like end. So like yeah, just look on the positive sides of things.
Yeah, and I kind of relate that to skiing. Like you have to climb up a mountain before you can actually do the fun part, which is skiing down the mountain, right? So right now we're just trying to get up this mountain, but once we get up the mountain, then we can finally like let go of all of that stress and the anxiety of what's going to happen once we get to the end of this and we can finally see what we're doing.
As we come to the end of our episode, we would like to give a huge thanks to all of the essential workers out there who are aiding those in need and are working to help others stay safe.
Mail carriers, drivers, grocery store employees, doctors, nurses, and many more. These are all people who are helping our world in such chaos, some risking their lives every day just to keep us safe. So let's all take a moment to be grateful and appreciate these incredible individuals, because not all heroes wear capes.
The world needs to stay strong, and with the help of those who are fighting for us, we can truly overcome this pandemic.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to follow us on our social media accounts and check out our website, all linked in the description.
Please stay tuned for our next episode on imposter syndrome with guest speaker Harshini Sivakumar that will be releasing soon.
Remember to stay safe and stay healthy. Wear a mask, stand 6 feet apart, and wash your hands for 20 seconds. As always, have a great day.
Bye.